It is November. Ho, ho, ho. I am really big on Christmas gifts, more specifically making them myself. Last year, I was able to complete everybody's Christmas gifts before December even started, so I would say this qualifies me as a kinda sort of expert. This is a DIY-centered guide, so there's going to be a lot of legwork. However, the method is pretty flexible to your time, your skills, and your wallet, so it is applicable to almost anyone that knows their way around crafting to some extent. And with that, let's not waste any more precious minutes. Firstly, I want to introduce you to this schedule. So this is a very comprehensive gift guide, and there is a schedule involved. In order for it to yield up to its full potential, the schedule looks a little bit like this. On a weekly basis, you have one day designated each week for shopping, usually at the beginning of the week, so like Sunday, I guess. And then each weeknight of the week, you'll need about 1 hour in the evening to work on your gifts. Now, apparently I have a very large quota. Every year I make somewhere around 21 different people some sort of gift on varying levels of intensity. So not only do I have a 1 hour session each weeknight, but I also will choose one of those weeknights to bump it up to a more high intensity craft session. But either way, you're going to need to try and create some sort of space for yourself for the duration of November every night to sit down, even if it's only for half an hour or an hour, and work on your gifts. And as much as this is quite adaptive to everybody's skill set, there will be a couple of skills that recur that you'll need to be somewhat familiar with, but very basic stuff. Generally knowing your way around stationery, maybe pulling out some photo editing software now and again, very simple things. But if you follow this schedule of sitting down once every weeknight and you keep this up for, I would say, at least 2 to 3 weeks, you will have so much productivity, and I promise that if you follow the rest of the method, you will produce way more gifts than you think you are able to. This section may have seemed like common sense to you, and if it was, you get a sugar cookie. I just wanted to make sure that we got all the basics out of the way before we get into the next section, which is the quota. So how many gifts are we looking to yield in this roughly 2 to 3 week time frame? So like I said, in my particular case, I have 21 people I'm gifting this year, but apparently that is a lot above average. When I conducted a poll on Instagram, we're looking more in the like 2 to 10 range. It's important to note though that my 21 people, not all of them are in the same gifting tier, the same category. And this is gonna sound so mean, but I know that everyone can relate to some extent, so I don't feel that bad about it. Some people in your life, if they did not receive a Christmas gift from you, would not think anything of it, and other people in your life would be like, oh, okay. So yes, we will be putting your loved ones into tiers. Okay, so we're beginning up here with the S tier, which is obviously the highest effort gifts requiring most of your time and attention. And then we will finish off with this D tier. It requires the least time and attention as it goes down. So maybe like don't let your family see your tier list. Okay, surprise! There is no S tier, but I'm intentionally leaving an S tier here and marking it blank because my biggest piece of advice to you to get lots of gifts done in a good period of time is stop overthinking it and do not be a perfectionist. Did you know that more than half Americans receive unwanted Christmas gifts every year? So billions of dollars are wasted on Christmas gifts that weren't really wanted. Christmas is very over-commercialized, and this is a long-winded way of me saying your little handmade gift will be a treasure, even if it's just one, and even if it's not that complex. Don't overthink it, don't go overboard. So moving down to the A tier, these are going to take up your high intensity nights and any spare time. These are really nice, intricate little gifts for your loved ones that are probably expecting a gift from you this year. Moving down to potatoes, these will take about 1 night or less each to complete. So these should really only be like 1 to 2 hour projects, sometimes even less than a 1 hour project. And then down here we have tiny potatoes. So these are mass producible and easy to churn out. What do I mean by mass producible? I will give an example. One year I did little calendars, but they were custom calendars, and I had a photo shoot for each calendar. So it was my own pictures, my own design, and I printed those at Walmart they were a little bit pricey for how many people I was giving them out to. It was like about $5 a piece. But that's what I mean when I say like mass producible. I think it's really important that if you do have a lot of people to gift like I do, you come up with one idea for the year that is not going to be inconvenient for the person to receive. Like, they can actually use it. It's small. It doesn't take up too much space. It's somewhat customizable, and it's pretty easy to make a lot of them. In my case, it was easy to make a lot of them because I was just ordering the prints. The only work that I had to do was putting together the little calendar photos. But something of that nature, I really strongly recommend coming up with for all of your kind of extended family, or maybe your friends that you don't see too often. So in order to complete your personal plan, you're going to need to fill out this tier list with as many ideas as you can come up with, and then assign the people in your life to these different, it sounds so bad. Assign the people and the gifts to these different tiers so that you can figure out how much of a workload you're putting on yourself. And if you notice that a lot of your ideas are longer than a 1, maybe 2 hour project, and they're all going into the A tier, it's time to think about how you can adjust your gifts. And we're going to get into that. However, not everybody has the time to go and create a tier list and come up with all these ideas and come up with, it is a lot of work. So today's your lucky day. I actually created some starter tier lists. I created tier lists that apply to every major hobby that I could think of. So crochet, sewing, general art, molding, jewelry making. I created a tier list for each of them, and I'm going to quickly flash them on screen. You can screenshot them if you'd like, or I will have a free PDF in the description that you can download that off of my Ko-Fi, and you can have these little tier lists to reference while you are planning gifts. I tried to throw extremely unique ideas into these lists, things that I hadn't necessarily seen before. Some of them are not so unique, but most of them have a fun little flair to them. And we can start talking about that, actually. That's our next topic. This section is extremely important because you need to master the art of what I call fluffing and swapping. This is by far the most important element of gift giving. It's going to save you time, money, effort, and it's going to actually usually create even more unique gift ideas than what you originally had planned. So let's break down these two terms. Swapping is a little bit self-explanatory, but I'm going to explain it anyways. When you swap an element of a gift, you are basically choosing your battles and deciding what will yield the most gifts and the most high quality gifts without needing to spend the most time on. Sometimes you might have to utilize a little bit of money to cut back on your time. Sometimes it may even save you money. So for example, I have been eyeing this cat bus jewelry holder on Pinterest for quite a while. This is definitely, however, an A tier gift because to crochet this, it's going to take several skeins of yarn. I'll need stuffing, I'll need a pattern, or a good amount of patience to figure out how this is going to come together. So I would say that this is a great time to make a swap. If it were me, I would swap the crochet for felt. Specifically, I would sew together a felt cat bus. Felt is extremely cost effective, so this will actually save us money. And even if I were to buy 4 or 5 different colors of felt, it would be like less than $3 in total. Rather than having to purchase a pattern for the crochet project, if I'm sewing it together using felt pieces, I could eyeball it pretty easily, or maybe I could even print out a picture of cat bus and kind of stencil it. And then if I wanted to take it a step further, I could kind of make that felt cat bus into a frame for a little plastic canvas panel. Plastic canvas has all those holes in it already, so that would work great as the jewelry holder piece of the project. And so we have now worked this down from a very time-intensive project into something that should take a night, maybe 2 nights, and is going to cost less than $3 in total. So by swapping, in this case, the medium that we're using, swapping from crochet to felt, we end up saving ourselves a lot of time and money. It is important to be as creative as possible, and when you're scrolling through Pinterest and stuff for gift ideas, you're constantly thinking, okay, how could I possibly swap some of these materials out to make it to where I could easily create this for a loved one and it would not eat up a bunch of my time in the gift creating schedule. So that's how you swap, but how do you fluff? When you fluff, you are typically always going to be relying a little bit on your budget. However, with all of that time and money that we saved ourselves by swapping from yarn to felt, I think it's pretty reasonable to say that we justified maybe going and purchasing a little set of cat bus earrings that will go along with the cat bus jewelry hanger that we made for the recipient. And that kind of fluffs your gift. It's still something handmade, but you have just a little accessory to go along with it. And importantly, that accessory is on theme. I think fluffing is so great as long as you stay on theme and it all feels cohesive and like it goes together. So now we have something that is unique, affordable, and we are giving even more than what we originally planned because we swapped out our materials to make it easier and cheaper, and then we fluffed it up with some of that time and money that we saved. Okay, so now that I have kind of walked you through that principle, we need to go back and re-examine our gift guide or our gift tier list. So for a specialized gift tier list that applies to your hobby, please do remember to utilize that PDF that I'm going to link in the description. So for a specialized gift tier list that applies to specifically your hobby, please do remember to use that PDF that I'm going to put in the description. It is free, but I'm just going to quickly run you through this beaded / jewelry specific gift tier list that I created. And I just kind of want to show you what I mean by putting the gifts into tiers if I didn't make it clear enough before. So up here in the A tier, we have a beaded curtain because that is very intensive. It requires basically creating like pixel art and putting that into a curtain. In the A tier, I also included jewelry art for the recipient and a matching set for the recipient's partner, sibling, friend, favorite stuffy, or for yourself. I particularly like the stuffy idea because you are fluffing up your gift with an accompanying gift that is smaller and therefore a little bit easier and faster to create than the meat and potatoes of the gift, which is the jewelry set that you are giving to your recipient. In the B tier, one idea that I like is the wrist phone holders with specific themes and specific packaging. So you can see that down in the D tier, I've been using the D tier to give you ideas for how to fluff up your gifts or possible gag gifts. But in this specific case, I think it's really important to note that packaging things is a lot of times part of the gift itself. So for example, package it similarly to how you would find it at a store. Think about maybe wrapping it in plastic. Once again, having a theme, staying on theme is going to make a world of difference. It makes it all so much more cohesive and intentional and professional. Staple a little piece of cardstock to it, put some stickers on it, make a fake brand, you know, like take some markers and come up with your own little brand name. A lot of times just having this cute packaging, you don't even need to spend that much time on the gift itself, but having a cute package for it makes all the difference, trust me. And for the bulk ideas or the C tier, I have a couple of ideas here, but one that I really like is the bulk purchased hairpins, and you can hot glue beads or buttons to them. And once again, if you remain on theme, you could easily mass produce a bunch of cute little hairpins for all your loved ones. You could make like 20 of these in one night and send them out. It would be very easy. So I hope that that exercise in walking you through just a little bit of one of the tiers jogged your creativity a little bit. So now that we have all the components, we can put them together and talk about the master plan. So for the sake of the example, I'm going to be pulling in a bunch of different gift ideas, but let's go back to step one, which is the schedule. If you're starting this tomorrow, then tomorrow would be your first day of the week. It doesn't matter if it's Sunday, it doesn't matter if it's Wednesday, whatever. Preferably, it'd be a day that you have a good amount of free time because the beginning of the week is your delegated day for shopping and planning. Now, when you are just starting this plan off, your first planning day, you're going to be planning all of your shopping, your entire shopping list for the whole month and for all your gifts. I know that seems like a lot because we're used to collecting these things over time, and you still can collect them over time, but you need to figure out specifically what resources you need to create at least the mass-produced gifts and hopefully your other tiers of gifts as well. So for example, let's go back to those hairpins. You're gonna need to buy a bunch of metal hair clasps, and then you're gonna need to buy a bunch of cute beads. The reason I say do this as early as possible is because it's November. Shipping is not guaranteed, and if you're buying from some sort of wholesale site, shipping might be a lot longer than what it would be through like Amazon. When I buy off Michaels, it's not usually that fast, so you want to get the jump on everyone else possibly doing the same thing that you're doing. So be punctual about this. Day one, plan all your shopping and all your gifts, of course. In total, throughout the 3 weeks, you will have either 15 weekdays that you can set aside an hour each evening to craft, or you will have 12 that you set aside an hour to, and 3 that you set aside more than 1 hour to. In my case, I have 12 weekdays in total over the course of the 3 weeks that I will just work on things for an hour, and then I have 3 days that I will work on my projects for 3 hours, because I have, I think, a lot more recipients that I'm gifting to than the average person, just based on my research or whatever. So there are many ways to divide up your gifts, but my personal favorite way to do it is to knock out all of the B tier gifts first. And remember, the B tier gifts should be about 1 hour projects. They shouldn't take you that long. They should easily be completed in an evening. So for the first week, I have about 5 days of crafting. I'll knock out about 5 B tier gifts without really having any trouble. And this gets my creative rhythm going without being too high pressure, because you haven't stepped into the A tier yet, so it doesn't necessarily need to be perfect. You're working on easier skill level gifts, and it's very encouraging because your first week flies by and you already have 4 to 5 gifts completed. So week 2, you go shopping at the beginning of the week, you come back, you have another 5 nights of crafting. This time I like to start off the week by doing a little bit of packaging. I love to package things, so that kind of just gets me motivated to continue crafting. And then I tackle, for most of the weekdays in the second week, I tackle the mass producible gifts, because by then whatever you ordered for them through the mail is probably in by now, because it's been about a week or a week and a half. Again, using the hair clip example, you can get to work on these hair clips, and honestly, you can probably knock out these mass producible gifts in 1 night, maybe 2 at the most. And so this gives you the second half of the second week and your entire third week to focus on nothing but the A tier gifts. I know it seems a little risky to save kind of like the most important gifts for last, but the reason that I like to do this is because it also kind of forces me to, again, not be a perfectionist. I gotta get this done. I have a time constraint. Let's just get it done. That's kind of the mentality going into it. Also, by the end of your schedule, by the third week, you're in full craft mode. So you're kind of like at the top of your game, and that really helps as well. Now that is the general outline for, I don't know if this was helpful. I really hope this was helpful, you guys. Is this all common sense? I don't know. I hope that me just talking about this at least kind of got you into gear of thinking about the kinds of things you can make for people. If you need more specific gift ideas, well, firstly, I'm going to be coming out with some specific gift idea videos, and secondly, please watch my 20 unique gift ideas that you can give as an artist. All of those are very budget friendly, and I promise they are unique because I haven't seen them done before except for myself. Yeah, but I think that's just about all the advice that I have. With that, though, we do need to sit down and have an important conversation about whether to fluff or not to fluff. So when you're fluffing up a gift, you can possibly use gag gifts as a form of fluffing. However, we need to talk about both fluff and gag gifts, what to do and what not to do. So if the thing that you're thinking about fluffing up the gift with, adding to it, if the stocking stuffer that you're looking at kind of feels like landfill core, I promise it's going to end up in a landfill. If it's just a piece of plastic that kind of serves a purpose, kind of doesn't, and might just take up room in someone's cupboard, I promise it's going to end up in the landfill. Need I remind you, more than half of Americans receive an unwanted gift every year, so they probably don't really want that. Me encouraging you to fluff up a gift is not encouraging you to buy plastic garbage, so instead I want to talk about what you can fluff up your gifts with that will be intentional and not too expensive and actually something that the recipient will like. So the first thing that I would say is it needs to be intentional and specific, or if it's not intentional and specific, it needs to be temporary, but not garbage temporary. Temporary as in it has kind of a life cycle, a short life cycle, and when it's used, it serves its purpose and then it's gone. Okay, so I'm going to use an example that actually kind of applies to both of these categories. So let's say you are gifting something to a recipient that really likes video games or really likes Nintendo, and you want to throw in a fluff or a gag gift. Well, might I introduce you to this $5 Sonic the Hedgehog toothbrush at Walmart? If you're watching this and you know me, I'll take it. Anyways, this is actually funny, but it's also not garbage, and it has a practical purpose and a shelf life. They're gonna use it probably for like 6 months, and then they're gonna throw it away, and they're not gonna feel bad about it, because that's what toothbrushes do. You use them, and then they're all gone. And you didn't give them something that they feel obligated to hold on to for the rest of their life. It's not gonna take up a lot of space in their cupboard. It's actually funny, and again, it's kind of on theme, on brand with whatever else it was that you gave them. And then when I talk about temporary, again, I don't mean something that you're going to throw away. I don't mean necessarily disposable. So think food, hot cocoa, stickers, maybe like those cute themed paper coffee cups, pens, stationery, etc. So yeah, the overall TLDR about anything that you're going to fluff up a gift with is please don't buy plastic garbage, and if you want to do a gag gift, just make sure it's something they don't feel required to hold on to forever. Okay, and with that, I think that actually really is everything that I have to tell you. I hope you enjoyed this video. It kind of was all over the place, but I'm hoping that it'll really come together when I edit it. Okay, I think that's all I have to say. Have a great rest of your day, or night, or morning, or afternoon, or